Why so many older adults step back from social life. Have you ever wondered why some people, once so full of energy at parties or family gatherings, slowly begin to step away from those social circles as they grow older? It's something we see often. People in their 60s, 70s, even into their 80s, gradually withdrawing from the social groups they used to enjoy. At first glance, it might seem like sadness, or maybe loneliness, but more often than not, it's neither. It's not about bitterness or losing interest in others. It's something deeper, something more peaceful. It's wisdom. As we age, something subtle happens. Our priorities shift. We start to crave calm over chaos, truth over small talk, and presence over performance. The social scenes that once energized us may now feel draining or unnecessary, and that's okay. In fact, it's a natural and powerful part of growing older. In this video, we're going to explore 8 deeply human reasons why many older adults naturally begin to retreat from social life. These reasons aren't signs of decline. They're often signs of growth, of emotional clarity, of choosing what truly matters over what simply fills time. And understanding these reasons can bring comfort, not only for those going through this change themselves, but also for loved ones watching it happen and wondering, why doesn't dad come to game night anymore? Or, why has mom stopped calling her old friends? The answers aren't always what you think. Sometimes stepping back isn't a sign of sadness. It's a sign of peace, of self-awareness, of finally choosing to live life on your own terms. So if you've ever felt guilty for saying no to another gathering, or if you've seen an older loved one do the same, stay with us. You might just find that this quiet transformation is one of the most powerful chapters of all. Let's begin. 1. The weight of past wounds. Let's start with something many of us rarely talk about, but almost all of us feel, especially as we get older: the emotional weight we carry from past wounds. Over the decades, we all collect scars, some visible, most invisible. Maybe it was a betrayal by someone you once trusted deeply, or the slow, painful fading of a friendship you thought would last forever. Perhaps it was the sting of being excluded, abandoned, or simply forgotten. It builds up, quietly, layer by layer. By the time we reach our 60s, 70s, or 80s, these experiences can shape how we see people and how much of ourselves we're willing to give. We become more selective, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Take Chloe Hour, for example. She's 81 now. Decades ago, she was the heart of every party, loved the energy, the noise, the laughter. But today, she prefers her own quiet space, a cup of tea by the window, a book, the kind of silence that doesn't judge or exhaust. Chloe says she finally realized that not every invitation needs a yes, and not every relationship deserves her energy. And you know what? That's not withdrawal. That's clarity. There's actually a term for this shift: relationship fatigue. It's when the effort to maintain certain connections feels more draining than joyful. And if you've ever felt that, you're not alone. So let me ask you, have you ever looked at your phone, seen a name pop up, and felt a sense of dread instead of excitement? That feeling is your inner self telling you something. Maybe it's time to honor your peace over your obligation. As we age, it's not about giving up on people. It's about protecting the parts of ourselves that took a lifetime to heal. And that is not weakness, it's growth. 2. Craving peace over small talk. As we move through life, something quietly begins to shift inside us. When we're younger, we often find ourselves caught in endless conversations, small talk, social chatter, parties full of noise where we laugh, nod, and talk, but say very little that truly matters. We tolerate it, maybe even enjoy it, because we're searching for connection, belonging, or just the thrill of being seen. But somewhere along the journey, especially as we grow older, that craving changes. It's not that we don't want people anymore. It's that we begin to value peace over performance, depth over surface. Henry, a 76-year-old retired teacher, used to attend every family gathering, every neighborhood party. But lately, he says he only shows up when he truly feels ready, when his energy aligns with the moment, not out of obligation. He finds more joy now in quiet evenings on the porch, watching the sky fade into twilight, than in crowded rooms filled with polite conversations. Why? Because as we age, we begin to understand time is precious, energy is limited, and attention is a gift. We no longer have the patience or the need for noise that doesn't nourish the soul. There's something incredibly liberating in saying no to what drains us and yes to what restores us. A walk in nature, a real, unfiltered chat with someone who listens, or even just sitting in silence, fully present, fully enough. This isn't isolation, it's discernment, it's maturity. So if you've ever felt guilty for skipping a party or choosing solitude over small talk, pause. You're not being distant. You're honoring your inner rhythm. In a world that often praises being everywhere, sometimes the bravest act is to stay right where you are and just be. 3. Feeling misunderstood or out of sync with others. Let's be honest. Sometimes it feels like the world just moved on without us. You sit in a room full of people, maybe your kids, your grandkids, maybe even longtime friends, but somehow you still feel invisible. Like your voice is being drowned out by the constant buzz of smartphones, rapid opinions, or just disinterest. Ella, a vibrant 79-year-old grandmother, told me something that stuck with me. She said, I was sharing a story from my childhood, and halfway through I realized no one was really listening. They were nodding, but their eyes were on their screens. That moment of being politely ignored is more painful than most people realize. Not because we need to be the center of attention, but because we all crave to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. As we age, we often carry with us decades of experience, stories rich with wisdom, moments that shaped who we are. But in a society that moves fast, talks fast, and sometimes listens poorly, it's easy to feel out of sync, outdated even. And when you feel like no one understands you, or even wants to, it becomes easier to retreat, not out of bitterness, but out of protection. That's what many older adults quietly do. They pull back, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're tired of being misunderstood, interrupted, or dismissed. But here's the truth. You are not less. You are not broken. You are a living archive of strength, lessons, and resilience. If you've ever chosen solitude over strained conversations, you're not alone. It doesn't mean giving up on connection. It means choosing quality over noise, depth over dismissal, and maybe, just maybe, it's time we build bridges again. Slower conversations, real listening, mutual respect. Because while generations may move at different speeds, our hearts beat to the same longing, to belong. For feminine, the fear of becoming a burden to loved ones. There's a quiet fear that grows with age, not always spoken out loud, but deeply felt. It's the fear of becoming a burden. Herbert is 84. He used to be the go-to guy in the family, the one who fixed leaky faucets, gave the best advice, and never needed help. These days, his legs aren't as strong, and his memory sometimes fades. His family adores him, but still, he hesitates to visit too often. They're so busy, he says. I don't want to be in the way. And he's not alone. Many older adults feel this invisible wall between them and their families, not because love is lacking, but because they don't want to disrupt anyone's rhythm. They've seen how fast life moves now, jobs, deadlines, school pickups, and they think, I don't want to be one more responsibility. But here's the thing. This fear, though understandable, often causes more distance than anyone truly wants. It's heartbreaking to see someone who once stood tall in strength now second guess asking for help. Not because they can't, but because it hurts their pride. Because they remember a time when they were the helper, not the one needing a hand. Let me ask you, when was the last time you reminded your parents, your grandparents, or an elder in your life that their presence is not a burden, but a blessing? And to those watching who feel this way, please hear this. Your value doesn't decrease when you ask for help. Your worth is not measured by your independence. If you're pulling away out of fear, know this. Being loved doesn't require being useful. Sometimes just sitting together, sharing a meal, or hearing your voice is more healing than you'll ever realize. So don't disappear quietly. You are still needed. still wanted, still loved. 5. When old relationships gently fade away. Not every goodbye is loud. Some friendships don't end with a fight or a falling out. They just quietly dissolve, like fog lifting from a morning lake. Victoria is 73. For years, she and her best friend used to meet every Saturday. Same cafe, same table, same laughter. But now, months can pass without a call. No one's angry, no one's to blame. Life just shifted. And maybe you felt it too. That subtle space growing between you and someone you once couldn't imagine your life without. It's not neglect, it's not bitterness, it's simply evolution. As we age, our priorities change. The energy we once had to maintain large social circles gets redirected to our health, to peace, to solitude, or to the few relationships that truly nourish us now. Some connections fade because paths diverge. One friend moves away, another becomes a caregiver. Someone else grows into a new version of themselves. And instead of forcing things to stay the same, sometimes the kindest thing we can do is let go gently. That doesn't mean those memories weren't real. It doesn't mean the love wasn't deep. It just means the season has changed. And here's something powerful. Choosing to release a relationship that no longer aligns with your present life is not a loss. It's a sign of wisdom, of self-respect. It takes courage to recognize when something once beautiful no longer fits. It takes grace to walk away with love in your heart and no resentment in your spirit. So if you're holding on to guilt about a friendship that faded or wondering if it's your fault, it's not. Sometimes friendships aren't meant to last forever. They're meant to shape us for a time and then set us free. And in that space where something ends, something new always has room to begin. 6. The joy of being alone. There's a kind of peace that doesn't need to be explained. It's the quiet joy of sitting by a window, a cup of tea in hand, watching the world go by, without needing anyone else to fill the silence. James is 82. He used to love gatherings, card nights, barbecues, birthdays. But now, he finds more joy in watching birds outside his kitchen window than in noisy dinner parties. It's not sadness. It's not loneliness. It's contentment. You see, as we grow older, we often stop chasing noise and start seeking stillness. Not because we're bitter or tired, but because we've discovered something beautiful. Being alone doesn't mean being empty. In fact, solitude can be one of the richest forms of presence. It's in those moments alone that we return to ourselves. We breathe deeper. We listen more clearly. We remember who we are beneath all the roles we played: parent, partner, worker, friend. And for many older adults, this shift is both natural and liberating. After a lifetime of being available for others, there's something sacred about choosing to be available for yourself. Some might say, but don't you get lonely? And the truth is, sometimes, yes. But there's a difference between being lonely and being alone. One is a craving. The other is a choice. Solitude, when embraced, not feared, becomes a soft place to land. It becomes a way to recharge, to reflect, and to reconnect with what truly matters. And maybe that's the real secret. Joy doesn't always come from being surrounded by people. Sometimes it comes from finally being at peace in your own company. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't rush to fill the space. Sit with it. Listen. You might just hear the quiet wisdom of your own soul. 7. When the body sets the boundaries. There comes a time in life when the body starts speaking louder than our plans. For many older adults, it's not that they've lost interest in connecting with others. It's that their body has started to slow down, even when their heart hasn't. Chronic pain, fatigue, a hip that aches when walking, a breath that shortens faster than it used to. These aren't just inconveniences, they're quiet, persistent reminders that energy is now a limited resource. Take Margaret, 77. She used to love Sunday brunch with friends, but now just getting dressed and out the door takes all the energy she has for the day. It's not that she doesn't want to go, she simply has to choose, rest or overextend. And that choice isn't always easy. Our culture often praises productivity and busyness, but we forget to honor the quiet strength it takes to listen to your body and say no. For many older adults, declining a social gathering isn't about being distant or antisocial. It's about protecting the small pockets of energy they have, using them for what truly matters. Maybe a phone call with a grandchild or just a peaceful afternoon nap. It's a shift from quantity to quality, from being everywhere to being fully present, right where you are. So the next time someone you love says, "I can't make it today," try hearing the deeper message. "I'm choosing rest so I can still be here tomorrow." Because true connection doesn't always require presence in a room. It requires understanding, patience, and care. Let's be gentle with each other, and even gentler with ourselves. 8. The impact of changing surroundings and losing loved ones. As we grow older, one of the most challenging experiences many face is the shift in their environment, both physical and emotional. It's not just about getting older, it's about what comes with aging, the loss of friends, family, and familiar places that once felt like home. Imagine moving to a new neighborhood or retirement community where every street, every face is unfamiliar. For someone who has spent decades surrounded by familiar people and places, this can feel like stepping into a whole new world, one that feels lonely and isolating. Or think about the gradual loss of close friends and loved ones. As years pass, the circle of people we share our lives with naturally shrinks. Each goodbye leaves a quiet space that's hard to fill. The familiar voices, the laughter, the shared memories, suddenly they become precious echoes from the past. Take John, 79, who recently moved to be closer to his children after his wife passed away. The new apartment is nice, but it's not home yet. The streets don't carry the stories he grew up with, and the neighbors are strangers. It's no wonder he often chooses to stay inside, away from the discomfort of starting over socially. This sense of loss and unfamiliarity can make socializing feel overwhelming or even pointless. It's not that the desire for connection disappears. On the contrary, it can feel even stronger. But without the familiar anchors of old friendships or beloved places, reaching out can seem daunting. So what can we learn from this? It reminds us how deeply our environment and relationships shape our well-being, especially as we age. And it calls on us, the younger generation, to be more intentional, reaching out, inviting, and making space for those who might be quietly withdrawing. Because sometimes the greatest gift we can offer is simply being a familiar face in a changing world. What about you? Have you ever experienced a time when a change in place or loss made you feel disconnected? How did you find your way back to connection? As we come to the end of our journey today, let's take a moment to reflect on what it truly means when older adults choose to step back from social life. It's easy to mistake this for loneliness or decline, but in reality, it's something much deeper. It's a sign of growth and maturity. With age, many learn the invaluable skill of protecting their peace. They become more selective, investing their time and energy only in people who truly matter, those who bring authenticity and meaning to their lives. This isn't about shutting the world out, but about finding harmony with themselves. Social distance here isn't isolation, it's alignment. It's about creating space where one can breathe, reflect, and connect with their inner strength. In the quiet moments and chosen solitude, there's presence, understanding, and an inner power that often goes unnoticed. Think about it. How often do we rush to fill silence with noise or company? Yet sometimes the richest conversations happen within ourselves, in the calm that surrounds us when we choose meaningful connections over quantity. So if you or someone you love is stepping back from the hustle of social demands, see it not as a loss, but as a new chapter of self-care and wisdom. Embrace the idea that growing older means becoming more in tune with what truly nurtures your soul. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever found strength in solitude or learned to protect your peace by choosing your company wisely? Share your experience in the comments below. And remember, caring for yourself is the most beautiful journey of all. Thank you for watching, and if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Take care, and until next time, stay true to your journey.